Hello, all, and welcome to the L Show, where the L stands for leaning in, which means we will not shy away from any topic, no matter how taboo, how uncomfortable it may be. We are going to talk about it on this show. We are continuing our conversation on blue zones, and it has been an exciting month for us as we have had great guests, and today that continues. Thank you, ladies. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole Eastman. I'm the owner of Rose Pharmacy and Boutique Apothecary here in Cornelius, North Carolina, where our focus is on functional medicine. We compound medication pursuant to a prescription from your provider that is specifically formulated for you. We also do lots of vitamins and supplements, CBD, THC, skincare, you name it, we do it. Make sure you guys come and check us out. And as always, the content shared on this program may not be suitable for all listeners, and it is not intended to replace the advice of your healthcare provider. So, before we get into today's show, I want to know how many of you guys are matcha drinkers. Are you a matcha drinker?
When I traveled in Japan, there was matcha everything. So, yes, I was able to partake there.
Are you a matcha drinker?
Does that mean heavy duty?
Well, yes.
Macho.
Matcha. So
Oh,
green,
just
like green
female.
tea.
You know, I drink everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So I bring this, this is like tea. It's green, like green tea.
Oh,
And
green tea, bring it on.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
so if you are matcha drinkers, I have the product for you. I have a matcha 700. It's made by Club Magic Hour. It's beautiful, bright green, and it is called Matcha 700. This matcha will allow you to get the benefits of the caffeine without the fall off, without the withdrawal, without the crash, because it also contains L-theanine, which modifies the way your body uses caffeine. So not only are you not getting the crash, but you're also, your stress is getting reduced from the
But I don't
L-theanine.
like caffeine.
Well, you know what? You don't have to. You do not have to do matcha. We have so many other teas for you. This is for our matcha drinkers. Anyone who has ever, and people who want to get away from coffee. This would be an absolute great opportunity for them to do so.
But the caffeine in tea tends to be different than in coffee. I can handle tea,
Okay.
but not coffee.
Well, then this could be something possibly for you.
I
then.
could be your experiment. I could be your guinea
Yes,
pig.
Good idea.
Exactly. Well, if anyone is a coffee drinker or is a matcha drinker, you need to come and check us out at Rose Pharmacy and Boutique Apothecary here in Cornelius. Mention that you heard about it on WSIC News, and you will get 10% off. So, without further ado, you've already heard, and I'm sure seen their beautiful faces. My guests, I want to reintroduce them both because they've both been here before. I have Edie Raether, and I have Dr. Georgianne Douglas. Okay, and guys, this is my BFF from pharmacy school. I know that she's been on here before, and I don't know if anyone remembers it, but anyway, just amazing. So you'll hear me call her Gigi, and when it should be probably Dr. Douglas, right? 'Cause
I mean, you can make it Dr. Gigi because we do what we want to now.
exactly,
Right?
we do what we want to. So, Edie, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'll move to Georgianne, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, let's do the Reader's Digest version.
Okay.
No, I started as an OT, and rehab was hard on me, seeing, young kids, paraplegic, quadriplegics. So I went into psych then, and so I've been a psychotherapist. I've been an international keynote speaker since, 1970, 5 continents. And
TEDx, make sure you mention that you've done
and
TEDx.
I just did my second TEDx talk, and I'm the creator of I Believe I Can Fly for kids. That's actually one of the websites. And that wires kids for health, happiness, and success, because as a therapist and a hypnotherapist, I'm always reprogramming people's minds, and I'm thinking, let's do it right in the first place, and then we don't have to undo and redo. And I've written 7 books. One is a bestseller in China, but they don't pay me. They don't believe in doing that for intellectual property. And so that's a little bit about it all. But a brain trainer, yep.
Well, just real quick, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about, she's mentioned some of the things that she's done. There's much more. Edie is 80 years old. So I just want you guys to know she has more energy than I do. She does more things than I mean, it's ridiculous. And if anyone heard her on here the last time, I mean, she had myself and my producer in there just like trying to,
And I water ski forever, and I snow ski in Jackson Hole every year. And get on that bike every day. It works.
There it is.
You are our inspiration for what we're talking about today
I
on
know.
longevity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Gigi, Dr. Gigi, girl.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
so let's talk about you, your background, and tell us a little about yourself.
Like you mentioned, we went to pharmacy school together. So I am a pharmacist turned Mediterranean health coach. And I've worked in corporate healthcare in the retail pharmacy setting for over 15 years and really reached a state of total burnout and felt myself after having baby number 2 and busy professional life and trying to find my, like you talked in the last episode, that purpose in life, that ikigai. And that's when I've shifted into more mindful, passion-driven work. And so now I serve my clients as a Mediterranean health coach, incorporating my background as a Greek woman of 3 generations of women in the kitchen cooking delicious Greek food. So
this is the lifestyle. Like
Yes.
this is the lifestyle.
I help busy professionals and parents go from feeling stressed out and overwhelmed with healthy food choices to effortlessly making those lifestyle and food choices for their families and for themselves with my simple framework that I've created, Mediterranean style, on how to use food as medicine. That's my passion.
And let medicine be thy food.
And as Hippocrates quoted, yes. And Greek food is what I was so fortunate to grow up with, a family that ate delicious Greek food on the table every night. And I didn't realize that my patients in the pharmacy and retail setting were just returning and coming to pick up medications, and they never had that baseline of whole foods, of delicious food that they grew up with. So that's what I help my clients get back to that, whether they had that upbringing or not. I bring my practical life, Greek woman skills, plus my 15 years in healthcare experience, and marry those two together in this simple framework that I created.
And I love Greece. I was just there for the 4th time a couple of years ago. I
Nice.
love it.
It
And I
is
love
so
the Greek
beautiful.
people. Opa. I mean, they're fun.
Philotimia, hospitality.
Oh,
Yes.
God. And it's not gyros, it's
Gyros.
gyros. Please.
Gyros, like
hear
gyration.
that
You're like,
a lot.
yeah. Like, right.
Well, that's what it comes from, the round. That's where the name,
Is
every
it?
word has a
Oh,
root
Yeah.
word in Greek.
Okay, you see, that's why.
Oh,
That's
that's
why I
why
have
means
you
go
just-
around and around, like gyrate.
Okay, well,
That's interesting.
thank you, Gigi, for showing me that again. There's so many things that I learned from Gigi. But also, Gigi, you have some goodies for our listeners. So please talk about those really quickly before we go to break.
Sure. I can talk a little more at the end too, but I have a free download called Mediterranean Herbs for Health. We're talking about longevity and blue zone, so I have some Mediterranean recipes, and then also a new book that I want to announce. So that's the tip.
Wonderful, wonderful. And just really quickly, I want everyone to understand the reason why I chose these 2 ladies to be on. We have Edie, who is where we all want to be, right?
That's
yes,
right.
Edie is 30, yes.
I heard that.
Bill, where we all want to be. Georgianne, who has the lifestyle, who grew up in the lifestyle, the Greek lifestyle, the Mediterranean lifestyle that we would all love to be able to incorporate into our
And we
lives.
can, yes.
So
And I love Greek food. I just have to tell you, in my second marriage, I love men. I
we'll,
collect
we
them.
will get back in just a minute. In just a minute.
Be a part of the conversation.
I listen on the way to work.
Have your say.
It's more than just opinions, it's facts.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The WSIC yard sale is this weekend. Come by the radio station and enjoy a day of fun. The world-famous Pat Shannon will be hosting a special edition of the Home Ad Show. Live music, food trucks, bouncy houses. Selling starts at 6 a.m. this Saturday. Yard sale spots are free. The WSIC yard sale, 1117 Radio Road in Statesville. Saturday from 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. Pumpkin picking at Kerrigan Farms. Experience the pumpkin patch at Kerrigan Farms by booking your experience now at kerriganfarms.com. kerriganfarms.com for a pumpkin picking adventure. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Want to enjoy a night of magic? Eric Jones, a worldwide award-winning magician, is coming to Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Eric Jones, the magician, this Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Well, it's definitely not going to feel like a late October day out there today. We're expecting sunny skies with a high getting close to 80 degrees. As you head through the evening, clouds will roll in. We'll have partly cloudy conditions through the overnight with a low temperature around 56 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Hello and welcome back to the Elle Show. I'm here with my guests, Edie Raether and Dr. Georgianne Douglas. Okay, when we went to break, I had to cut Edie off. Edie, I want you to finish what you were saying. So you were saying you love, was it men or was it
Mediterranean food? Well,
so your wedding. Okay, so yes.
It was the second wedding, and people always say, how many weddings do you have? And I always say, I love men. I collect them. But if we can put one man on the moon, why can't we put them all there? But it's funny. I'm from...
Bill, you're okay. Listen, Bill, you're good. You're good. Okay.
I'm from Wisconsin, and I had Mediterranean food at my second wedding. You don't want to know how many times there. But growing up in Wisconsin, it's meat and pot roast and beef and potatoes. I was eating Greek food for a year. Nobody wanted it, but I love it.
I'm glad to hear that.
That's why I'm healthy.
That's right. What we're putting in our body is part of why,
exactly,
part of our longevity, a big part of it.
Well, we talked about meat while we were on break. We talked about like the meat and how much meat we eat. So you were saying that you eat meat maybe once a week, Edie?
Right. And
yeah, I would say that.
Right. And it's not something that you have to measure out or that you have to put on the calendar. It's more of, like you said, we're not using the word diet. We're talking about way of life. And so emphasizing more vegetables on the plate and less meat on the plate, and not just the plate at one dinner meal, but thinking about your whole week. So maybe thinking about Monday through Thursday, more plant-based, more vegetables, and then save the bread, save the meat for your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or maybe just one out of those days. And so that's where you're eating lesser of the meat instead of having a little measured out piece on every plate, every meal. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, that just rang a bell with me. I used to talk a lot because I do hypnosis for weight control. And what I've noticed is that I think, how people are looking for the right answer in the wrong place?
Yes.
That a lot of times there is a psychological or spiritual void that we are filling and stuffing ourselves. In fact, I just remembered I did a 1-credit program on Freudian's take on why we are overweight. And it is that we stuff ourselves because we're pushing down emotions that should be expressed through music, dance, or just open communication. And I just thought of that now, but it is true. So we just keep filling this void.
Right.
with food. That isn't what we need. We need spiritual enlightenment.
I think you nailed it. And that brings another thought, too, if I may share at this
absolutely.
moment.
Sure.
So we need that spiritual involvement, and we also kind of need a blueprint to guide us, to get us there. You know, when we talk about blue zones, and we mentioned we want to create our own blue zone here in our personal life.
Right.
And I think back on my culture as a Greek American. I also think back on the spiritual piece, like Edie mentioned, and my religion is Greek Orthodox. And the Greek Orthodox calendar follows fasting according to religious holidays. So that's kind of like Greek people in the blue zones in Ikaria in Greece. Probably didn't mention this in the series on Netflix, in the documentary, but they follow this kind of fasting from meat products, fasting from dairy for long periods of time, 40 days at a time, for religious purposes. And it happens on the calendar almost evenly in the spring, and then again in the late fall and the Christmas time around holidays, Easter and Christmas. And so every year, imagine doing a detox would be a buzzword that we use in nowadays.
Yeah, right.
But fasting for religious purposes, and you're really cleansing your body, and you're really getting your mind closer to God because it's a spiritual thing. But that is also kind of that blueprint that people maybe today have lost the direction or the why behind, like, how can I incorporate fasting is such a fad word too, and people don't eat anything from the time they wake up until whatever.
Right.
And that's so stressful on the body.
That is.
This is a different
is.
kind of fast, but it just made me think about practical ways that Greek people in Greece and here in America have been doing this for generations.
You know what? Oh, this is so exciting. I love the fact that we're doing a threesome because there's just more. But I grew up in rural Wisconsin, and the Catholics lived up on the hill on the north side of town, and it was almost like Little Ireland, and Lutherans lived over here.
Okay.
But they always they could not eat before they got married or before they took communion.
That's right.
And Christ would go to the mountain. When he'd go to the mountain to pray, he would do it on an empty stomach, and that's where I think Catholic and maybe Greek Orthodox.
Very similar.
Yes, they fast because you go to a higher level of consciousness. Because digestion consumes so much of our
It's your energy. It takes energy to digest. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and you know, as long as we're talking about the spiritual thing, because you said something also, so I'm just taking all these notes here. And when you said, you know, now I'm doing what I'm passionate about, and you made a shift, and you know, it's funny, as I was driving here, I just told my marketing guy before, I said, you know, there's just something wrong with me. I'm sleeping 9 hours, maybe my thyroid, I need more levothyroxine. I'm just not okay. As I was driving here, I felt really good. And you know, I think I told you, I used to have a talk show on ABC.
Yes.
This is fun. Speaking is fun for me. So when I'm in my zone, not just the blue zone, but I'm, and not just in my comfort zone, but in my spiritual calling.
Yes, you're not tired.
No, and I was thinking,
you're
I feel
energized.
You're energized. Absolutely.
Yes. And so you said you made the shift. And so we're just a bundle of energy here because
this is fun. We're showing up to do what we want to do and talk about it and share and help other people in that journey, because it can be hard.
It can be very hard when you feel alone, like you are in a little silo.
Right.
And so how do we get people to connect in the way that we're connecting? It could be just starting the conversation. Oftentimes we don't think about this. When we're with people who we care about, or even when we're with strangers that we have to kind of interact with, we don't really consider the sorts of conversations that we could have. We're thinking about, okay, I just really don't want to talk to this person. I just want to kind of do my own thing. But this is the way that we can really connect and to find other people who may have interests that are similar to yours. And that conversation could be energizing. That conversation could
therapeutic.
Could be exactly.
You know, what's the word where you can just get it off your chest and
feel catharsis.
Yes. And so really, but I believe that is why when we're talking about blue zones, that connectivity, that is a piece. That is one of the pillars of longevity.
It
is
definitely
that connection. How do you connect with others? where's your tribe? Like, what do you do? What do you do?
And what I love about this table conversation that we're having with Edie too, being 80, that's part of it too in the Blue Zones, is that there's multi-generational. You see a lot of young people that in America we call it the sandwich generation, almost like a negative connotation, like you have to take care of the elder and you have to take care of your children at the same time. When I'm traveling in the Mediterranean, especially in Greece in the summertime in the evenings, and I've been to Sardinia, which is another blue zone too, the evening parties that they have in Greece, we call them panegyria. They're literally like a cookout at nighttime till midnight. Everyone's dancing, old people, babies sleeping in the stroller,
and
middle-aged people in the streets.
People that live right on the streets or on the sidewalks.
Engaging, and they're all there, and they're dancing, and they're eating. And that's going to be like a lot of eating there, and that you're going to see a lot of meat there and desserts there, and there's movement because you're dancing, but that's not every day that they eat like that. That's celebrating. And you can have sweets during celebrations, not every night of the week or 5 nights of the week.
Rigidity is the ultimate sin. I remember one of my ministers.
That's right. You are so right.
Saying that. And he was so brilliant. He studied Catholicism. He ended up with Lutheran Baptist. He was so bright, but he said rigidity is the ultimate sin. And I think that's what takes away our longevity. If you're rigid, if you're neurotic, if you're OCD, if you're anxiety ridden,
right?
If you're negative, if you're stressed, that's what's killing you more than anything.
So I'll tell you this just really quickly. So I went on to the Blue Zone, bluezones.com, and I just wanted to see, there's a vitality index that you can take. So it says,
I want to hear about this.
So there's a vitality index.
Okay, so you do it for yourself?
Yes, I did it for myself.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, it's basically around, the way that you live your life right now, this is your life expectancy. And then if you do, based upon those questions, you answer 33 questions. Based upon the answers to those questions. So
it's just a questionnaire?
It's just a questionnaire.
It's not like blood work?
No.
They're not looking at your triglycerides?
No, they're not looking at my triglycerides. No, they're not looking at that, right? But they're asking you questions that can lead them to get an idea of your eating habits, of your drinking habits, of your exercise, your activity, your connection with other people, like your religious, like they're asking you all of these questions, and then it pops out with, this is your life expectancy. It asks you about your height, your weight, things like that too.
Okay.
But this is your life expectancy. And then it tells you if you change, for instance, mine was, so my life expectancy, the way I am right now, and I was being very honest about my alcohol intake and all of that stuff. So 82.6 is what
how long you're expected
is how long I'm
That's
expected to
not
live.
long. I don't want.
Okay, so it then tells you if you do these certain things, I can add 15 years.
Okay, so it kind of tailored it to you and your answers.
Tailored it to me and my answers. So I think that everyone should do it. I mean, it's private. It's, but
can you share where everybody can get it?
Yeah, so you go to bluezones.com and you click on tools, and there's a vitality index, and they will shoot you your results, and it's very,
and
very
you have to be honest with yourself,
You have to
right?
be
Like
honest,
you don't want to lie on there and say you exercise 6 days a week.
Exactly. Just be very honest, and it's going to pop out. I had a 3-page, 4-page report around what I need to do to gain those years. So,
are you doing it?
Well, I just got it. So I'm working on it.
Small steps, repeated regularly over time.
You're so supportive.
Yes, I know.
I come down like a sledgehammer, and she's.
We are going to continue this conversation on Blue Zones when we get back from break. See you then.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the community calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus, plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Well, it's definitely not going to feel like a late October day out there today. We're expecting sunny skies with a high getting close to 80 degrees. As you head through the evening, clouds will roll in. We'll have partly cloudy conditions through the overnight with a low temperature around 56 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
In life, we plan for many important things. Weddings, our children's education, retirement. A celebration of life is really no different. Planning and paying for your life celebration in advance will give you and your family valuable peace of mind. We'll help you take care of every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Lynn Honeycutt Funeral Home. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
With the fall weather ahead of us, you don't want to be outside doing yard work. No, you want to be doing fun stuff, like playing with your dog, hiking, or whatever else. Let Josie's Lawn Care handle the yard work for you. Josie's Lawn Care does mowing, trimming, excavation, tree removal, and more. Plus, he takes care of the cleanup. Call Eddie Josie today at 704-902-4707. That's 704-902-4707 for Josie's Lawn Care.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynavite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynavite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dynavite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovites.
Hey, you. The one on the couch who just told your friend you can't go out because you're busy? Ready to get real about your psoriasis? When your current treatments don't do enough to help control the inflammation beneath the skin, causing plaques and pain, stressing and scratching, it's time to stop hiding and get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, it's Kathy, General Manager at Stretch Zone. Practitioner-assisted stretching is beneficial to everyone. At Stretch Zone, we customize our programs to meet our clients' needs. We are located at 20545 Torrance Chapel Road in Cornelius and 591 River Highway in Mooresville. Schedule your free stretch today at Stretch Zone Mooresville and Cornelius.
Mention you heard about Stretch Zone on WSIC and get an additional free stretch with your program.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. A consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-215-0703. 800-215-0703. 800-215-0703. That's 800-215-0703. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your credit.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Hello and welcome back to the Elle Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole Eastman. I am here with my two guests, Dr. Georgianne Douglas, Dr. Gigi, and also Edie Raether. Edie is a best-selling author. She's done TEDx. We're going to talk about a couple books that she's written. Edie is the where we're all trying to get to. Georgianne is showing us how we get there. So that's the way that I like to look at my little group here, my round table. So we're going to continue along this discussion of blue zones. And just as a reminder for everyone, and I'm sure by now you know, but just in case, just know that blue zones are essentially places that were designated to have the densest population of centenarians, people who are living into their 100s, and they're doing it happily, healthy, and with purpose. Speaking of purpose, it's important that we talk about, and we've talked about this on other shows, but again, we want to normalize this conversation. We want people to think about this as a way that, how do we get up every day? How do we interact with other people, right? And what are we going to do to help bring others along? So what is our purpose? I want to get into that conversation. So Edie, one of your books is about purpose.
Yeah, it is, and that's the one that's the bestseller in China. And it was my first book, Why Cats Don't Bark. Cats don't bark because it's not their calling in life. Dogs bark. And so it's about intuition, listening to that inner voice and knowing we're all here by design. We're here by design, not default. And the sad thing is that most people live and die and never sing their song. Just remember, a writer must write, a singer must sing, a dancer must dance. To thine own self be true. We need to connect with our calling, our purpose, our mission in life. And then we have the joy and the peace and the fulfillment. It's that simple.
So we have our outlook, our calling, we have our diet, we have Georgianne. So I just want to give our listeners this. I just got to say it. So when we were in pharmacy school, Georgianne's parents, they own a restaurant. And I'm telling you, Georgianne's, her mom, oh my gosh, an amazing, amazing cook. And you felt kind of like you were, if you were on a diet, you felt like you were cheating, but you weren't, because it was so healthy, but it was delicious. It was just amazing. And so I was always like, dang, that'd be nice to be able to, grow up in an environment where so much time is spent on making sure we show love through cooking,
through food,
and that sort of thing.
You nailed it, Nicole. Yeah. And I think kind of what you're articulating too is because of the household that I grew up in, with the culture and the food and everything around family, we have a very positive, good relationship with food. It's not a constant yo-yo dieting. It's not I must not do X, Y, Z. I can't eat that. I have to restrain myself from this. It's a food culture. It's eat, eat, eat. I cooked. We have it on the table. You must eat to show, I show you my love by cooking for you. And so I've grown up around that. And I'm sharing this with my children as well, that we're grateful for the food. We're grateful for the ingredients that go into our food and the time that it takes to cook the food. And it is a slower process. It's not grab and go, things that are already packaged and in plastic and eating it while in front of the TV or distracted while eating just to make it a meal between meetings. It's more of a slow down and what's for dinner. And I remember when I was in college and moved into a dorm and my mom would call and say, "What did you eat today? What are you going to have for dinner?" And I didn't have the mental maturity at that time to have planned out my meals as a college person. And so I would find it almost like putting me on the spot that I had to know what I was going to eat for my next meal. But over the years, decades, now I'm a mother with my own children, and she still asks me, "What are you cooking for the kids tonight?" So this is part of what I've put into a framework is like that meal planning, using your freezer, thinking about it in advance, putting a process behind your grocery shopping list and having your go-to meals that you know that you can prepare instead of everything on the fly. You see on social media, 30-minute meal here, 30-minute meal there. Those 30-minute meals are not always nutrient rich, and sometimes you need slow cooking, and that I don't want to take too much time, but that is one of the things in the blue zones.
Yes.
And one of the tips that I'll give for your audience too is some blue zone recipes, which are slow cooked. It takes time to really roast, and using olive oil. So one of them that I'm going to share is called briam, and it's Greek-style roasted mixed vegetables. It's got some eggplant. It's got all kinds of vegetables, from carrots and celery and mushrooms and tomato and lots of parsley and olive oil and salt and pepper and garlic. And that oregano, oregano is part of the flavoring, but the olive oil that's drizzled on top from slow roasting for I'm talking over an hour, maybe 2 hours.
In a cooker?
In the oven.
Crock pot?
Yeah, in a Pyrex dish in the oven, all mixed together like a medley, like a ratatouille, like a goulash. And it over time, that olive oil can start to almost caramelize. So you're adding flavor and sweetness, and that taste, that flavor profile is coming from the natural cooking process instead of puncturing it with sugar or other additives. So everything is just from the earth, seasoned with salt and pepper and olive oil, and slow roasted. And that's a blue zone diet.
So many things. I'm
you
going nuts here.
Edie and her, you
She's
see her
taking
eyes
notes.
right here.
Yeah.
You got to see Edie's eyes right here.
So much of what you
Tell
said.
me more. Go
ahead. What you said, that she cooked with love. Beethoven is my favorite. And I remember, and I may not have this absolutely, correct, but he basically fired his cook because somebody that didn't have love in their heart couldn't make a good meal. So what I'm talking about, because as a psychotherapist, I'm very into life is an energy exchanging process. So you are absolutely right. When you cook with a loving heart, you are nurturing the soul, not just the body. And that has been proven over and over. I was with Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and we were doing something. We'd write on a sheet of paper, I love chicken soup for the soul. He had you do it when you were thinking of one of your most angry moments. And he had me do it when I was thinking of one of my loving moments. And then we did the applied kinesiology. And when the note was written with love in the heart, strong as a bull. And when it was written with anger, you could take a wrestler, and I, with one finger, took his arm down. So we have to know, we know this with water, that we can energize it. So you are so right. When you get fast food, you are not getting any of that nurturance in terms of love.
And what went into it, the energy that went into it.
Exactly. And so that was just flipping me out here. And then, and I talked about, I guess that's it. I know.
Okay, yes.
One more thing. More. And when I'm doing hypnosis for weight loss, this makes a bit. I am like a tornado. I mean, everything I do. I mean, I rush in here. Okay.
That's what we love about you, Edie. Okay.
Yes. But there's one thing I do slow. Well, a couple. I'm going to talk about the other one.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes.
Okay, but the other one. We got to stop.
No. Keep on going.
Okay.
Edie. Keep on going.
But it's food. I don't. When I eat, I don't answer the phone. I am so conscious of every bite, of every morsel. And people lose weight because half the time they're not getting the real psychological, spiritual value because they're not conscious. They're just shoving it in instead of savor the wine. Every sip, right? And that's what
eat
you
it
do.
With other people.
Yes.
While you're laughing and talking and not by yourself.
Exactly.
In a sad place, but with delicious food, but in community and having fun while you eat and drink.
Yep.
Okay, so
we got it, baby.
Well, let me just say this: when we do come back from break, there is a book that Edie wrote called "Sex for the Soul" that we're going to talk about just briefly when we get back from break. We will see you guys then.
Have your say.
Trusting the government to fix anything is a joke.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't even trust the banks with our money.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The WSIC yard sale is this weekend. Come by the radio station and enjoy a day of fun. The world-famous Pat Shannon will be hosting a special edition of the Home Ad Show. Live music, food trucks, bouncy houses. Selling starts at 6 a.m. this Saturday. Yard sale spots are free. The WSIC Yard Sale, 1117 Radio Road in Statesville. Saturday from 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. Pumpkin picking at Kerrigan Farms. Experience the pumpkin patch at Kerrigan Farms by booking your experience now at KerriganFarms.com. KerriganFarms.com for a pumpkin picking adventure. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit BirkdaleVillage.com. Want to enjoy a night of magic? Eric Jones, a worldwide award-winning magician, is coming to Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. Buy your tickets before they sell out. KaneArts.org. Eric Jones, the magician, this Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Your WSICnews.com and click on event.
Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Well, it's definitely not going to feel like a late October day out there today. We're expecting sunny skies with a high getting close to 80 degrees. As you head through the evening, clouds will roll in and we'll have partly cloudy conditions through the overnight with a low temperature.
Visit drumlandscapesupply.com and collaborate with our experts. Drum Landscape Supply, your local one-stop landscape shop. If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the Community Calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
Welcome back to the Elle Show. I am your host, Dr. Nicole Eastman, and I'm here with my BFF, Gigi, Dr. Gigi, and also my new BFF, Edie Raether. We're having such a great time. But before we get started, just really quickly, I want to remind you guys, if you are matcha drinkers, you got to come and see me. My Matcha 700 is an amazing blend with L-theanine that will help that caffeine, you to avoid that caffeine crash that you often get with coffees and with other matchas. Mention WSIC News and you will get 10% off. So let's jump back in. So, all right. We had mentioned a little earlier, she was talking about slow, right? And so we kind of got away from that just a little bit. But I want to come back to that because one thing that I will say in all of the research and even in the documentary, they didn't go into it a lot, but when I read the book, they talked about in Greece, in Italy, that people are having sex in their 90s and 100s and it's not a chore, enjoying it. That is how they are still connecting with their partners. It is a part of what they do. And I say this because Edie wrote a book called Sex for the Soul. Edie, just give us a little highlight. What is that book about, girl?
Well, the subtitle really incorporates that sexuality is a path to spirituality. Mm-hmm. And if you remember Princess Diana and how much she was devastated in the affair, it's how we have kind of redefined our sexuality and sexual experience to leave out that kind of spiritual connectedness. Mm-hmm. And so there is this hunger and it's almost like people are kind of prostituting themselves because, again, it's looking for the right answer in the wrong way. And so it's a little bit conservative in that way, that it's really more about affiliation, connectedness to a higher level of spirituality through relationships. But if we are just so in our media today, everything is like women are a piece of meat. You know what I mean? It's so we have become so detached from the spiritual aspect of our sexuality, and it's tragic. It is very, very tragic. And so that's why a lot of people say they're happier alone than together and being lonely. And that does happen because you might see a couple, but that doesn't mean they're connected.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
And I wish it was like $29. It was at the printers, and I was going to dedicate it to Princess Diana. She came on 60 Minutes that night. And I wish that book should be dedicated to her, because it's really the harm, too, that's done when people have affairs. Look, if you're no longer in the relationship, you can get a divorce. It's, you know what I mean? The harm and the distrust and the betrayal. Betrayal is one of the most difficult, loss and betrayal, and their brother-sister relationships. It's the most harmful thing you can do to a person's psychological well-being. It really is.
I love the fact that like you kind of bring this around. So of course you see Sex for the Soul. You're thinking it's going to be some, some
vaudeville.
Like, not 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, but you're thinking kind of along those lines.
It's a spiritual book.
But it's really a spiritual, and it really comes back to like, how are we connecting? How are we moving throughout our lives?
And you know what? This is what happens. It's like stuffing ourselves with the food when it's really a spiritual void, an emotional void. It's the same thing here. So we just have sex, casual sex, whatever, because we're really looking for a relationship and a connection. But so we look for more sex, and then we get more depressed because it's more empty. We're not filling.
You're not getting the connectivity so basically you're doing it to try to get the connectivity, but you're not getting it.
And that's what's really causing a lot of the loneliness. And so it's looking for the right answer, feeding it in the wrong way.
Well, I think too that loneliness piece goes along with, Nicole, what you and I have seen in pharmacy. The number one prescribed medication is an antidepressant to people over 65.
Right.
Because they're lonely.
They're lonely.
And that antidepressant might help, and that's good for some people for a short period of time.
For a short period of time,
but
correct.
It doesn't replace that sense of purpose in the family and doing things that,
It's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid. And so when you talk about these blue zone regions like Greece and Sardinia, where you have older adults still active with their partners and showing love and enjoying each other's company, a piece of it is that, spending time with family. But another piece of it that came to my mind is not pursuing material things and money to the point where you stress yourself out and your calendar is so packed that you don't have time for intimacy.
Well, and that's more true now than ever because of
having more free time, because you're not working so much for the dollar. Like in the documentary, there was a shepherd. He's working the hours of the day that the sheep needed him to be tending to them, but he wasn't stressing himself out with 12-hour days where he didn't have time to fit in personal relationships.
He was not.
He would stop for his lunch break with his friends. He would drink wine with his buddies at 5 o'clock.
They would have their wine at 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's that not packing our schedule to accomplish things and check them off our list, but adding, another buzzword of now is self-care time or relationship time or time with your girlfriends or time with your spouse, so that can come up naturally because you built in time in your calendar for relationships.
But people are not doing it. My last TEDx talk is AI and digital dopamine making us dumb. It's not only making us dumb. We know, it was just on the news last night. Just on the news again last night. Sexual relations are down. People would rather be on their
phones.
Yes.
Yep, with their smartphones,
then
swiping.
Having a relationship with their partner. And because dopamine is addictive. Sexual activity
Yeah.
is also a dopamine high, but this is more convenient, and we are so associating the cell phone or device with the dopamine high or reward that we've lost all perception of relationships, sexual or just affiliation. We've lost it. And it's sad because the other thing is, I think it was the University of New Hampshire, that loneliness is as harmful to our health as 15 cigarettes a day.
So
it reduces years off of your...
15 years. So essentially, someone who is alone is more likely to die 15 years sooner than someone who has a partner. That lets you know that we were really born for the blue zone. People don't, like we were born for the blue zone lifestyle. We were born to connect. We were born to love and to revere our elderly and to learn and to keep them close and to eat together and to communicate and all of these and to act. We didn't even talk about activity. We didn't even talk about that at all, right? But that's a huge piece of what we need to do in order to really get our blue zone action on.
And relationships in general, you don't have to be married. You don't have to have a partner. I have neither, but I'm very connected. I'm connected to you. I'm connected to my kids.
Exactly.
I'm good.
Georgianne, I'll say this. I want you to, really quickly, could you just let people know where they can get more information about you before we end the show? Because I think it's a big benefit to all of our listeners.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be able to share. And so if your audience is interested in learning more about not just health benefits of the Mediterranean diet, but those practical skills that they can implement in their life today, and kind of like someone to hold that space for them, a health coach. I'm a Mediterranean health coach, and I create this kind of a roadmap according to what your specific health concerns are. And to connect with me, I hang out on Instagram, so you can send me a DM on Instagram. I have a website, www.drgeorgiannedouglas.com. And then another way to connect with me, too, I have a new book that I want to share with your audience. It's called Quantum Holistic Healing.
Okay.
I'm a contributing author with another group of amazing practitioners who've made a transition out of a traditional role in healthcare to something more passion-driven. And I have a I have a 10% discount code for your audience. Just type in L Show, and you can DM me for that link.
So really quick, I want to make sure that I thank everyone who did tune into this segment of the L Show. Of course, I'm your host, and Edie. And so I'm going to have Edie tell us where we can get more information about her. We want to do that really quickly. Edie, go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
If people are interested in reprogramming anxiety, whether it's habits, smoking, drinking. Well, you like drinking, but
I do.
That one is braintrainer.expert. Okay, or Lake Norman Hypnotherapy and Coaching Center.com.
Okay.
If somebody has children or grandchildren and they want to bring them up right, wingsforwishes.com.
Okay.
And then if you're having a speaking event, you need a keynote speaker, that would be EdieRaether.com.
Okay.
Edie at Raether.com is the email. Phone number 704 658 8997.
Perfect. So great. We got that in. For those of you who missed a part of the show or any of the previous shows, you can find them on WSICnews.com, or you can watch them by following them on Facebook. Ladies, remember, block off that 3 to 4 p.m. time slot every Friday for the L Show, because I want this to be our happy hour. We are wrapping up our busy week together on a very uplifting note. Thanks again to all of our listeners and viewers. Can't wait to spend this time with you guys again. We will see you guys soon, and hopefully you'll be at my shop to get some matcha at 10% off. WSIC News. Thanks, guys. Bye.
1059, 100.7 WSIC.